Hey guys, welcome to Voc Rehab Bootcamp, now called Veterans Readiness. I am Nick the Vet, and today's video took me 2 years to put together because it's the informal meeting with the supervisor present. And to be perfectly honest, I was so frustrated at the end of that meeting. They gaslighted me, they tried to trick me, manipulate me, psychological tactics. It was horrible. And I didn't really have the mental bandwidth to sit down and listen to this long enough to make a video, but it took me 2.5 years. When I finally sat down and said, I'm ready to do this, it took me 3 months to parse through everything. So this was an 1.5-hour conversation, and I'm going to let you hear some of the ways they try to gaslight you and they try to pull you off of your topic. But it is in no way in its entirety. But what you're hearing went on for an 1.5 hours. So basically, when I went in, I explained, you guys denied me because you said I did not meet the 3 entitlement criteria. You said I did have a service-connected disability. It was serious enough that it kept me from obtaining or maintaining work. Therefore, it is a vocational impairment, but I've overcome the vocational impairment because I have so much education and training. My argument was, I have not overcome my vocational impairment because I have not found suitable work in 5 years, even though I'm qualified, I'm educated, I interview well. And by definition, the effects of the vocational impairment have not been overcome. That's all we needed to discuss. It's very simple. I want you to hear how many times she tried to block me when I specifically said, I have not overcome my vocational impairment through education and training. This situation includes an individual who qualifies for a suitable job, and suitable is not what I've been doing. Suitable is something in my field, but who does not obtain or keep the job for reasons beyond his or her control. So how do we quantify that statement? How have I overcome that?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Could you specify for me what was in the June 24th email you sent?
So the first thing she did after I explained everything and made it perfectly clear was, what was in that email again? So I go over everything in the email again.
Oh, was it additional information to her that might have an impact on the entitlement decision?
So I explained I meet the entitlement criteria, and she goes, oh, did you give any additional information? I say no, and she goes on.
Copy of the file in front of you. Included in that file is a report that is called the entitlement decision report. And
Do you know what page it's on?
it's under the letter, under the appellate rights.
So now she's saying, if you want to know why you were denied, just look in the denial letter. It tells you why you were denied. Okay. So then I go on again and I try to explain, but I meet the criteria. I have not overcome my vocational impairment. So can you help me understand how you can ignore that? She says this.
So when a veteran comes in for their entitlement decision, this is required. Every counselor has to write up their report explaining the decision. And so I thought that would be helpful for you to read and see what documents as having taken into consideration when making the entitlement decision.
So after explaining to her 4 different times that I have not overcome my vocational impairment and asking her how she justifies saying I have, her 4th response was, your VRC looked it over and she thinks you don't meet the entitlement criteria. Blanket statement. So I decide, I'm going to reiterate what overcome means and explain it one more time, which is actually the 5th time. So this is what that was. This situation includes an individual who qualifies for a suitable job, but who does not obtain or keep the job for reasons beyond his or her control. So how do we quantify that statement? How have I overcome that?
Read the last statement again.
So I read the whole statement. Now can you read the last statement again? So I read it again. This is the 6th time I've said it. This situation includes an individual who qualifies for a suitable job, which is what she says I do, and I do qualify, but who does not obtain, which I haven't, or keep the job for reasons beyond his or her control.
Okay.
That's the caveat. So how have I
So
overcome
what would
that?
that be?
What do you mean?
Reasons beyond your control.
So she interrupts and says, what would that be, reasons beyond your control? Do you know what beyond your control means? I know what it means. Now all of a sudden she doesn't know what it means. So now I explain, 7th time, what it means, how I have not overcome it. Help, and I say, tell me how you're justifying denying me when I meet the criteria for having not overcome my VI. This is the 8th.
She has determined that you have overcome the effects of the vocational impairment, and therefore you don't have an employment handicap. So in professional judgment as a vocational rehabilitation counselor, after looking at your whole picture, your medical situation, your work history, your education, when she put it all together, in her professional opinion, she felt that you are qualified for suitable employment and that you're able to obtain suitable employment and maintain it. Right. That was her professional opinion. Right.
So this, I believe, is the 9th time. Or the 10th time I've said it, and the 9th time she's blocking it. This is what she said this time.
I cannot find a clear and unmistakable error in that.
Well, we're skipping over this.
So I can't change her decision.
Right, and I did understand that.
Okay.
My question to you is, this situation includes an individual who qualifies for suitable work, but who does not obtain or keep jobs for reasons beyond his or her control. So how do you quantify that statement as not being a valid reason to say, I do have an employment handicap?
Well, would you say that you have not been able to maintain work?
So you see what she did? Instead of answering my question, she asked me another question. Do you think you've been able to obtain work? So we've been going back and forth now about 35 minutes. I've asked her 10 different times one specific question. She will not answer. She asks me other questions. She deflects. She's like, pow, pow, pow. Won't answer it. So at this point, I'm getting frustrated.
I'm disqualified when that statement qualifies me. What has transpired
about
to
being
take
able to obtain work?
Now she doesn't know what the statement is. I've asked 11 times. Now she's, what statement? The statement about what?
The effects of the impairment are not overcome if you're able to
obtain work.
If you're able to obtain work? She's trying to confuse me. You understand? She's trying to confuse me. I'm a little bit leery that you're asking me, when you work here and you're number 2 in charge, that you don't understand what I'm saying. So I go on to repeat it. This is the 12th time. And this is her response. I don't know, I've lost track. 12, 13 times.
not overcome.
If you cannot obtain suitable work due to no fault of your own.
Okay.
Me being...
So, okay, and that's where I'm confused, because I see on your work history that you have been working.
But not suitable.
So this most recent job you had, you say was not suitable.
No, absolutely not.
And
I've not overcome my vocational impairment through education and training because I cannot find suitable work that does not exacerbate my service-connected disabilities for the past 5 years. Therefore, I should be found entitled. That's it. She's asked me 12 different questions. Now she's saying, so you're saying the job wasn't suitable? So then what happens is I try to get the definition of suitable, and I can't find it. So I ask them the definition. Can we read it? Now suitable, let's pull up the definition because apparently we're not. Do you know what do you have it there, or are you gonna wait for me to find it? The definition of suitable, does anybody have that? No?
no, Valerie, I don't.
So you don't know what it is?
I can't quote it to you
Or do you know generally? Yeah, just generally what suitable is. We're debating suitable, and I say, I can't find it. Can you tell me the definition? Dead silence. They were looking at me like this. Dead face. And I said, do you have it? She goes, no. So I said, can you tell me what it is? She goes, I can't quote it, no. She's refusing to help me. I'm sitting there drowning, arguing my entitlement, she won't help me. So I said, can you please, generally, what does it mean? Or do you know generally? Yeah, just generally what suitable is.
So I think that I reviewed everything in the file, and
Okay.
I've heard you. I've heard where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But what it keeps coming back to for me in my position is that I can't find a clear and unmistakable error, so I can't change anything here today.
But let me ask you this. I'm looking at the guidelines, going step by step. This is what constitutes an employment handicap. Do you have this? Yes. Do you have that? Yes. And then you add something that's not in the code and say, but you don't have that. How does that make sense?
Would you like to
That's a question.
provide your job search logs to
I'm asking
and
a
the
question.
doctor's letter to see if it would change her decision?
I'm asking you a question. Can you answer that question, please?
Would you like to submit your job logs to and see if it can change the decision?
What you're doing is you're diverting to some other area.
I am, because
But I'm asking
I feel
a
like
question.
we've gone over and over in this. We've been here for almost an hour. It's
But
been about 15 minutes. I don't see that we're moving forward at all.
But I'm
We're
asking you a
talking about
question
the
that you
same
won't
thing.
answer. I'm asking a specific question. Can you answer that, please?
What's the question again, then?
You see what she did? I explained why I meet the entitlement. She doesn't answer it. She cuts me off and says, do you want to send her some job logs? Do you want to send her some job logs? I said, answer the question. Do you want to send her some job logs? I said, you're ignoring me. Yes. Now she tries to make me feel bad. You're wasting our time. We've been here for an hour. I don't know what else to tell you. Then when I push her to the wall and say, answer the question, she goes, what was the question again? Do you see this? Some bull crap. Straight bull crap. So then I finally, we're wrapping it up. We're not even wrapping it. We're only halfway through, but I'm going to wrap this up. And I ask her, show me in the guideline. I'm showing you in the guideline where I am qualified. You show me where I'm not.
Can you show me where that is?
You mean where you're not entitled? You're not entitled because we do not find an employment handicap.
She just keeps saying the same thing. I said, show me in the guidelines. She goes, where? Where you're not entitled? And I said, yeah. She goes, you're not entitled because you don't have an employment handicap. She didn't show me. She just ignored my request. None of that warrants it being not suitable. Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
What? Not the last job?
None
not
of what
just
I
the
just
last
said.
job.
None
We're
of
looking
what
at
I
the whole
just said.
picture. And when we look at the whole picture, the professional decision was that you have overcome, that you do not have an employment handicap.
Okay. This went on for an hour and a half. By the end of it, I was questioning myself because I couldn't even really verbalize what I wanted to say because she had me so twisted and confused. This person is the assistant VREO for the entire VRE office in a major city. And she was blocking me and trying to confuse me and using circular logic. I got them to admit that if I had applied for 100 jobs and got 25 interviews and I didn't get any of those jobs, then that would justify me being found entitled. And she said yes. So I went home and I got all the stuff. I emailed it to them. They sent me a denial letter 5 days later that said, you have overcome your vocational impairment through education and training. Total gaslighting. You probably don't get the full frustration that I felt in this because I had to cut it up, but I just want you to hear all of their responses. For me personally, after having gone through this and helped over 1,000 people get entitlement and get what they wanted, I think it's better to just reapply. Look at all my videos, or at least these videos, train yourself and reapply and go in there and get your entitlement. But if you do go in for an informal meeting with the supervisor present, be prepared because they play games with your life and your mind, unfortunately. Hopefully it will stop. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick the Vet.